Hey guys, we've got something really cool for you today. But first, imagine if you had 10 times of everything. That sounds pretty dope, right? Well, maybe not every time.
Okay.
There was probably dirt all over that.
I'm so sorry.
See, sometimes 10 of everything really isn't that great. But one place that it is great is getting 10 times entries in to win this beast of a car right here, and your chance ends tonight. So go to issues6.com and get your entries.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm gonna give you guys an explanation about Lucifer, the GT350, because as you guys see, it is a pretty empty shop and the car is not here. Honestly, the reason is because we've had a lot of issues going on with that car for quite a while now. And the last video that you guys saw, I updated you guys pretty much on the issues that we were having and what we were doing to try to fix it. The video before that, you guys saw that we had made a crazy amount of power and it was doing great. This issue that we were having was between that video of it doing awesome, making crazy good power, and literally it was making like 1150 to the tire. Everything was flawless, to the next video of it having problems. And today we're gonna dive in and I'm gonna explain where we're at with the car and honestly where the car itself is at. So brace yourself, because I have an entire list of a lot of stuff here that we're gonna be going over, because it is quite a bit. So first off, let me explain about why we haven't posted about the car. The reason is once we had that issue with the car, which essentially for those of you that are new or haven't seen the videos about the car, Lucifer is a twin turbo 1300 crank horsepower GT350 with a built engine, built trans, big turbo kit. It's a really cool car. We started having issues with it once we started shooting for about 1100 plus horsepower. We had no issues out of the car for the longest time, making under 1,000, but as soon as we pushed further, something happened and we couldn't figure out what. Basically, we had taken the GT350 down because we were going to do an AMS boost controller, which essentially is it's a CO2 boost controller. It works off of air. Instead of having, like, let's say a traditional boost controller, you have a small range of how much control you can have over the boost, if that makes sense. With this AMS, you've got a pretty extensive amount of features and variables and different stuff that you can add for slower ramp in time or boost by gear or boost by mile per hour. It's a very, very smart system, and it was something that we were thinking was going to be pretty necessary for the amount of power that we were trying to make with the car. So that is why we were going to install that. After putting this AMS 2000 in the car, we put some new fuel in it, we did a bunch of stuff, and we took it out on the street to go test it. Everything was pretty good. It really was. It was great. Accidentally made a lot of power. That was what the video was actually titled around, but the AMS boost controller, we had accidentally set it a little bit too high, let's say, and we had shot a pretty good amount of boost at that car. It was our first time making that much power, and directly after that, we shot the drain plug out of the back.
Woo! Motherfucker, look behind us.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh,
What?
the fucking drain plug blew out. And we didn't know that we were gonna have any problems after that, but after the drain plug got shot out of the back, we had to take the car home, we put a new drain plug in, filled it back up with oil, took it back out, and then after that, we had a problem. So it was directly at that point that we had some kind of a big major issue at 6,000 RPM or so, where the car just kept breaking up like crazy. Sounded like maybe a bad fuel, or maybe bad spark plugs, or maybe bad injectors. All of these things sounded like something that could have been going on, but we weren't sure, and so we needed to start obviously diagnosing things. So the first thing that we did, after checking over all of the simple stuff, was we were trying to figure out, okay, when did this issue happen? Why did it happen? Let's look at everything that we had done to the car and let's revert it, because that's the first thing that you would think to do, I guess. So we took our AMS 2000 boost controller and we unplugged it. And so this was where things just the very tip of the iceberg, where things just got really interesting. Our AMS 2000 was literally the only thing pretty much that had gotten changed. And so after manipulating that and playing around with it, not figuring it out, we literally just unplugged the entire thing as a whole to see if our issue was fixed. Well, we were already on the dyno, so we ran it, didn't fix it. And so at this point, we had obviously also swapped over to some different E85, and so I figured maybe we had a bad batch of fuel. So we drained out the entire tank of E85, and we had another supply of E85 from a completely different distributor, and we filled the car up with that. Put that in the car, ran it again, same exact thing.
Yeah, did not fix it. That was a pretty loud pop there at the end. So different fuel, still didn't do it.
And so, once we had figured out that there was definitely not an issue with anything that we had done, we started diving in a little bit deeper. And so the car was down for a bit. It was down for maybe 2 weeks while we were doing the AMS boost controller and a few other things. And so we were thinking, possibly because of the fact that it's an E85 car, maybe the E85 got gunked up inside of the injectors, which is a reasonable thought. And so the next thing that we started was pulling an injector set out. And we got our injectors pulled out and we sent them off to a local shop here to go get flow tested. And the results that Doug called me back with were a little shocking.
Ran the cleaner solution through him like 3 or 4 times to try to figure out what was going on with him.
Right.
He did say on the dynamic flow, which is pulsed by RPM, like 2,500 and 5,000. 2,500, they kind of started to venture off from each other a little bit. And by 5,000, the results, I mean, he straight up said, like, you got a problem. Like, the flow rates are so far out from each other, they're unacceptable. It seems like as the RPM gets higher and higher up, because at 2,500 it wasn't that bad, but the next setting that he has on this machine is 5,000.
Right.
By 5,000, they were off by a lot.
And so basically, it was obvious that we had an injector issue. And I thought that that was for sure what we had going on. I was so confident, because this is months after trying to just solve shit, okay? So injectors showed a problem. We sent the injectors off to FIC, and they had one problematic injector.
Well, Doug is warming the car up. I want to show you guys this real quick. On this sheet right here, you guys see this injector was definitely down a lot lower than the rest of them. They were definitely all still out of whack a little bit. We were seeing a 2% variation between the injectors, and now after they got cleaned, we were only seeing a 1%, but that is only because this injector got replaced with this injector due to a poor match before and after cleaning. So basically this injector here was problematic, and they couldn't fix it even after cleaning it, so they went ahead and replaced it.
So at this point, we were super confident that that had to be it. And so we put the injectors in the car, and we decided to make a pull. And guess what? No, it wasn't fixed. So at this point, we didn't really know what to do. We had been frustrated because we really had spent about probably 3 months at this point trying to diagnose the car to no avail. We really had nothing that we could post about it. We had nothing to really say. So we made a compilation video of trying to sort through a bunch of issues, and we dropped it on YouTube just to let you guys know, essentially, we really didn't know where we were going with the car or what was going on or how to fix it, but we were still trying. And we just wanted you guys to know that in the background, we were still trying. After that video got posted though, Midnight Performance had made like a little snide-ish Instagram post. And so I messaged him about it and I was like, dude, instead of being hateful, why don't you help? Like, we don't know what we're doing. It's very obvious. Like, we cannot figure this problem out, so help us out. And so through talking to him, we had come up with a few different solutions. We tried a bunch of stuff. It didn't exactly work, but one of the last things that he said was just, this sounds stupid, pull out every single relay and replace it. And I was like, okay, well, that's convenient. We had the black car sitting right here at the time, so it was easy. The GT350 was on the dyno. We just pulled literally every single relay and everything out of that fuse box, replaced it, and swapped everything around, just thinking it could be an electrical issue, something simple with relays. He said that he had had an issue with that previously. Didn't work. And so after we had literally replaced every single relay in the entire car, we were a little bit frustrated, and so we started diving into just replacing a lot of stuff because Midnight was pretty stumped at this point. They didn't really know exactly what it could be. They had a few suggestions to try out, and so we just started replacing quite a bit of parts. And this is where my list comes in handy. So first off, we bought an entire new set of 4 performance coil packs, and we replaced those. It's actually, I believe, the same coil packs that are on the GT500, so it was like an upgraded coil pack to the one that was in the car. Thought we were gonna fix it, didn't fix it. We We replaced so many sets of spark plugs, it didn't work. And so the next thing, we were like, okay, I don't know how, but maybe it's a throttle body issue. So we replaced the throttle body, didn't work. And so at this point, we were wondering, is there something that is just boost related? Does the car just not like boost at the moment? Is there something, like, we didn't really know. Boost looked great on the dyno. AFRs looked great. Everything looked great. The data logs looked fantastic. The tuner didn't understand what was going on. Nobody really understood what was going on at all at this point. And so the next thing that we did was we literally pulled the entire charge pipe off of the car to let the car be NA again. And I think we made like 300 and something horsepower. It was quite ridiculous, but yet again, at the same RPM range, our exact issue of breaking up happened again.
It's at the same fucking spot, dude. We pulled the charge pipe off. How is this problem still at the same fucking RPM?
And I don't even know. We had no idea what to do at this point. Because like, if it is not even boost related, then there's definitely an issue further than that. And so that was a little frightening, honestly. And so at this point, the only thing that we could think, because I mean, you gotta remember, if there's no boost on an engine and you're still having this issue and there's nothing electrical that you can see, there's no logs, so you've replaced injectors, you've done spark plugs and everything else, coil packs and fuel pumps and fuel line, I mean, like all kinds of stuff, throttle bodies. After replacing everything else, really the last thing that you can think is something engine related. And that was what we were saving for last because we didn't want to have to pull the engine out. Well, Midnight had suggested possibly, I know it's not showing up on the data logs or anything, but possibly it could be valve float. And we thought, hey, you know, it's possible, we don't really think so. That engine was never over revved or anything. And Will at RPG did a great job assembling it and it's never had any problems, but you know, we'll pull the valve covers off, we'll spend the time, check it all out. So get the valve covers and everything pulled off, inspect all of the valve springs. We had no broken valve springs. We had no issues that were at least obvious to the naked eye. We just had nothing. There was nothing going on inside of the top end that we could see. And so we put everything back together after talking to Will and verifying that that was pretty much all that we could check. We did compression tests, by the way. I didn't mention that, but leak down tests, all of the above. Everything was great. Everything was great. That's what's so frustrating, is like, we had nothing to go off of. And so at this point, I'm pretty frustrated. Everybody's pretty frustrated. We don't really know where to go. So the last thing, like honestly, truly, the last thing front to back on the entire car that we could think of to check is the crank sensor. But obviously we had saved that one for last because it is the hardest sensor on the entire car to get to. And so we saved it for the very last thing. And the reason why is because the crank sensor had no obvious signs of any issues. There was nothing really going on with it that was traditional for crank sensor issues in these cars. And so we never had a reason to look to it. But again, it was the last sensor that we could pretty much replace. And so I went to go pull it out. And what I found was pretty funny.
This is the crank sensor, right? So normally these sensors just pull in and out pretty easily. Whenever we went to go pull it out earlier, we literally could not get it out. So we got pliers and we pulled everything apart, literally just trying to get better access to it, and started really yanking pretty good on it. And it is not coming out at all. And so the reason why I'm a little suspicious about this is because if I get this crank sensor here, I've got the back of this new engine over here conveniently to test this. So you guys were seeing this hole right here. This is where the crank sensor was actually at, that you guys were seeing me tugging on just a second ago. Now if you see here, this is obviously just a mock-up just to show you guys, but that is down. Okay, so whenever you pull this out, it literally slides in and slides out. In fact, it'll actually wiggle a pretty good bit as it comes out because there's plenty of room there, as you guys can see.
It was stuck to the point that we were using every freaking tool and leverage item that we could, to the point where the sensor actually finally broke off inside of the engine. And so we were a little bit frustrated because at this point, the only way that we can proceed is obviously we have to drop the engine and trans and everything out of the car completely. The car can't even run at this point because the sensor is broken off. We decided to take the easier route, or so we thought, of just pulling the trans out, because that's simple. Well, then we remembered that we had turbos and a turbo kit and drive shaft and entire exhaust and all kinds of stuff in the way. But we went ahead and got it all removed. So once we got everything out of the way, the next step, simple, pull the transmission out, pull the clutch out, and that sensor is behind the clutch and flywheel and everything. So we get the transmission, we get turbos, turbo kit, exhaust, everything pulled out and removed. And inside, we could see that the crank sensor was definitely stuck in the rear cover. We didn't know why, but we could definitely see that it was stuck pretty bad in the rear cover. So we went ahead and removed the entire rear cover, put it in the vise, and Doug got a drill and a drill bit and was able to extract it.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Oh, look, no, look, it's like, I didn't even drill down that far yet, and it's like corroded, broken in there.
Oh, yeah. Hang on, spin it a little bit. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Now this is where it got interesting because it was very, very obvious that that crank sensor had failed. It was no doubt about it. Extremely, extremely deteriorated looking, and there was major issues going on with it. We didn't know why though. That was the interesting part, is we didn't really know why. But my thought is that, okay, if it's stuck inside of there, the only reason that it could get stuck typically is if something swells up. And so I was thinking, why do things swell up? It's, in my opinion, the only thing that I could really think of is that it's brass. And so the clutch, whenever we had made that crazy amount of power that day, I don't know if you guys even remember this, it's so long ago, but it was a crazy amount of power and we started blowing through our twin disc clutch. And so, I mean, that's expected at 1,300 horsepower to the crank. So you're obviously gonna be blowing through a twin disc clutch. And so I was thinking, hey, maybe the few runs that we did get to get with the car making that much power, maybe the clutch was just slipping so bad that it was getting super hot on that flywheel, which, I mean, it's all located right there. So I was thinking maybe it got real hot, swelled up our crank sensor into that rear main cover, and that is why it couldn't come out. And so at this point, I'm thinking that's gotta be it. This has gotta be the issue that we're having. It's directly related to RPM. There's no question about it. That's gotta be it. It was completely screwed up. That is it. I have checked out. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling good. And so with that confidence, obviously we were like, well, hell yeah, if we're gonna throw this thing back together, this is the last time we're touching it. So we're throwing it together with a triple disc clutch, screw that twin disc. We're throwing it together with all new parts. And well, we waited quite a while for some parts to come in. And a few weeks later, we get the entire thing assembled, back on the road, and we go to take it out. And I'm not kidding, the exact same issue is still there. Like, we have no idea at this point. It is so frustrating that I think me and Doug were ready to rip our hair out of our scalp. And so at the point of frustration, we're all looking around the car and we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden I had a brain thought thing.
A brain thought.
I had a light bulb go off in my head and I was like, ah, hey, we put a new sensor and a new clutch and a new this, that, whatever in. We forgot to do a crank relearn. Maybe, by the grace of God himself, if we do a crank relearn, that's gotta fix it. So we did a crank relearn. We took it back out and nope, didn't fix it. It straight up just didn't. So.
Well, no. What? Are you serious?
I'm very serious. You can imagine that this is pretty frustrating at this point, especially. And so at this point, we really had no idea what else to do. We had already got the truck and we were getting ready to start doing videos with that, which I think we were actually, if I can remember right, we were already starting on those videos. So that's where our time was going to, is pretty much this truck. So the GT350 just kind of got pushed on the back burner. And then all of a sudden, the tuner from Lund, he messaged back and he said, hey guys, are y'all still having issues with this car? We're like, yes, dude, please tell me that you've got something. And he was like, I might have something. We had a customer with these exact same injectors that is having this exact same issue even after getting them cleaned. And it's very uncommon. We've never had this happen. It's not an FIC issue. Just maybe you're having the exact same issue as this other guy. And so we're like, okay, that's not a bad idea. So we had brand new injectors of the exact same size sitting on our shelf because we were getting ready to install them in the truck before we were going to twin turbos. We needed, obviously, the injector for it. So we were like, okay, well, hell, if we've got these injectors just sitting here, let's throw them in the car real quick. They're the exact same ones, so we threw them in the car, brand new injectors. This is, at this point, going to for sure eliminate that old set of injectors being an issue. Put the injectors in the car, and literally, same exact thing. Nothing was fixed. And so I messaged the tuner back. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do at this point. We really don't. He had no idea. I mean, I'm not even supposed to say this. I'm going to probably get in trouble, but it's worth it. I want to say this. We even legitimately had engineers from Ford Performance looking at all of these data logs and trying to help us sort out what was going on with this car. But no one, midnight, not Ford Performance themselves or Ford or the technicians at the dealership or our tuner at Lund or literally no one, not even the internet. Our last video, if you saw, we posed the question of like, if you guys think that you know what's wrong with the car, please, you would actually help us. Comment down below. We read through every single comment. We even tried a lot of the stuff that you guys suggested. No one could figure it out. And so the last thing that we could think of is like, obviously we love FIC. So let me go ahead and say that. We've never had a problem with anything FIC related at all. But we figured maybe there's something going on with this car and these FIC injectors, and maybe it's something to do with these 1300s, I don't know. And so luckily we had another set of Injector Dynamics injectors sitting over there from the black cars, like V1, whatever build. And so we were like, well, hell, let's throw these in the car and we'll try this out, because like we have nothing else to try. So we need to at least try this. So we put these injectors in, hoping that this was going to solve our issue. Even with our smaller injectors from a different brand, it still had the exact same problem. And now this is on a completely different tune for different injectors. This is different fuel. This is all different parts, different coil packs, spark plugs. I mean, like there's nothing else almost that you can change on a car physically. Like there's just not, like we're out of things. And so it was at this point that I think we were pretty much concluded that we were not going to be able to figure it out on our own. There was just no way to do it. After talking to a lot of different shops, and there was nobody that really had any advice on anything to try. They had pretty much said, yeah, I mean, y'all checked everything, so the only thing that we can do is pull the engine out and ship it back and let the engine builder look at it. But like I said, if it was an engine issue, we probably would have seen something in the oil or something on the compression or leak down or something going on with spark plugs or something somewhere, or timing issue or something in a data log, or like there was nothing. So I don't think that it was an engine issue, but that was what every shop was pretty much suggesting at that point because nobody knew what to do. This is where it gets interesting because I know you guys are probably wondering where the hell is the car, because it's not here. I've been wanting to do something pretty crazy with that car for a very, very long time, but truly it was just never the time, nor did I have the money at the time, nor did I want to just jump to something super crazy. I wanted to build that car over progressions and iterations, and it sucks because V2 in a way was going to be like the factory PCM with that AMS boost controller, and we were going to go as far as we could with that, and then eventually we were just gonna go for the Hail Mary pass and do something just absolutely ridiculous on the GT350 platform, and that's what we're doing now. So this was not supposed to come until much, much later, and we were supposed to have so much content with this car in its current setup, and I'm seriously so sorry. Like from the bottom of my heart, want you guys to understand that we tried everything that we really could, and I really wanted to make content with this car so damn bad, and it just didn't work. Like it really didn't. I spent so much money that it is pretty bad, actually. It really is. It is bad at how much money that we spent on that car just trying to get the damn thing going again so that we can make more videos for you guys with it. And I guess at that point of just feeling defeated so much, we were just like, screw it. Let's just do it. Let's go absolutely crazy with the car. We decided, let's bring it to Hell Horse Performance. And so through talking with Jeff at Hell Horse and Will at RPG and honestly, a bunch of different people, we came up with a plan. And that plan was to send the engine off, send the turbos off, send the transmission off, send the clutch off, send literally every single thing off to get rebuilt and at least, I mean, let's be honest, we had a lot of miles on that car making a lot of power, so it really is about the time that these things would need to be gone through anyways. So we were figuring, you know what, we're at a stuck position, let's just go ahead and send everything off to get gone through, rebuilt, upgraded, and let's ditch the factory PCM because it's got to be something with something. So the only way to fix it is literally just replace everything. So that is what we're doing. We went with an aftermarket ECU that I don't really want to say yet because it is pretty damn crazy, and I don't want to get you guys too overly hyped yet. I really want to reveal this whole entire build whenever we've made a little bit more progress on it, because this all just like really happened a few days ago. So currently the car is at Hell Horse with Jeff. This week, Jeff actually, with his guys, removed the engine, the turbo kit, turbos, all of that good stuff. They've sent off the turbos to comp to go get rebuilt. They sent off the engine to Will at RPG to go through the entire thing and see if he can even find an issue. So that way, because I know you guys are probably wondering if we do find something, I'd love to let you guys know because I want to know personally what is going on. So I'm hoping that somebody's going to find something, but the car is pretty much blown apart at the moment. Parts are sent everywhere across the country. I've been told from Jeff, as our timeline right now is about a month to 2 months from this point, you guys are watching this, we should have a 1,500 wheel horsepower car that will dead hook on any surface pretty much with no problem on street tires or drag slicks or whatever. Sure, a lot of you guys may be able to know where I'm going with this, but the car, just trust me, it is gonna be a handful whenever it comes back. So with that being said, I just wanted to apologize for the lack thereof of content with that car because it does suck. We've been wanting to make stuff, but I just wanted to explain all of the issues that we've been having with it. The plan originally was we're gonna go and get all these issues fixed and then drop a video, and we're gonna wait until we've got them all fixed to do so. But once we couldn't figure out the issues and we knew that we weren't gonna be able to solve it, this is what this video is for. Just to let you guys know, this is a white flag. We have officially surrendered. We declare defeat, like we're not gonna fix it. So we're just replacing everything and going for that crazy build that I was referring to, since that was technically the goal from day one of buying that car. I just didn't really want to tell you guys about it, but so that's the truth. And so I am left with these two cars here to work with for videos. Obviously the truck we're completely finished with at this point for its version 1, and it is awesome. We're planning on definitely making a lot more videos with the truck, so don't think that that's going away anytime soon. It's not. And also for the ZL1, there is absolutely a reason that this car is on the lift right now, and it's not exactly able to be moved. You guys will find out about that. Honestly though, we ended up taking these two out for a race, and the results were pretty astounding, and we decided that the ZL1 needed some pretty major upgrades. And that's all I'm gonna say for now. But with that being said, it's gonna be a bit until we get parts back for that car, so that one's gonna be down. And so other than these two cars, the black car is the only one that you guys don't see here that you really care about a lot. And the black car is still at Taylor's. I just wanted to let you guys know we did drop the turbos. We did drop a lot of stuff off over there. So he should be getting finished up with this turbo kit anytime. The engine is still literally right there. We are gonna get started installing it soon. There is one more project that we haven't exactly disclosed to you guys or told you about or given you any details on in a really long time. And honestly, it is because the situation is strikingly similar to the one that we had with the GT350, where we didn't have things go exactly as planned, and we had a bunch of stuff that we wanted to do, and we wanted to wait until we got to a certain point to drop videos about it. And so this is that point. So if you guys were wondering where the 67 Camaro has been and what's going on with the Coyote swap, and is this still happening? Yes, it is. So this is gonna be the next series that you guys see. This was another situation truly that was just horrible. It didn't go well at all, but finally we got the car back in our possession. It's been gone for a while, as you guys saw, and you'll see, I promise you I will explain everything, and it will make so much more sense, and you will be really, really excited about what we're doing with the car and everything. And I promise, once we explain the whole situation with that car, you'll probably be grateful that we didn't drop videos in the first place when we got it, because we would have only been able to make like 1 or 2 videos with it over the course of like an entire 1.5 year span of time. And that would have been really shitty. So we saved a lot of content for you guys with that car. And so with that being said, I'm not even kidding. The 67 build, the Coyote swap, every single bit of it starts right now, like the next video. All of the beans for the last 1.5 years that you guys have been missing, all of them are getting spilt. You wanna know what's been going on with it? Stay tuned, find out next video, turn notifications on, drop a like on this video, comment down below, and let me know how excited you guys are. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next video.